Hello. Let's see. Okay, good. Hello and good morning, and welcome to the Slava Heroyam podcast. I'm Travis Hightower, your host for this show. It is 7:33 in the morning on what day is it? Oh, we're already in December 5th in the year of our Lord 2025. This is the 15th episode of this show, and if you're not familiar with the show, we talk about usually a hero of the week in Ukraine, because this is the channel and the podcast that focuses on the individuals making a difference for the war in Ukraine, both on and off the battlefield. We also do a memoriam for heroes we've lost. And we talk about organizations that you can give to help the cause and join the fight in Ukraine, since geopolitically things are not going well for support for the nation, but how we can how we can help as individual citizens. So I'm late again, and maybe I would have a little bit better of a live audience if I could actually make my 7 a.m. starting time on time, but maybe I should try these on Saturdays or even do a later morning time, because I am definitely not a morning person. Let's start out with I don't have everything that I wanted to talk about. Last weekend, we held a event at the Dallas Holocaust Museum, and it was for Holodomor. Which, if you don't know what Holodomor is, that is the name of a genocidal act that Stalin enacted on Ukraine from 1932 to 1933, in which he starved the Ukrainian people by seizing pretty much all of their grain, throwing out all of their food, and deliberately trying to cause a famine for him. And he did cause a famine to kind of crush that rebellious spirit that he was seeing in Ukraine. This event is remembered around the November 20th time frame every year by Ukrainians. And we connected the dots to how, through that event, and through Nazi occupation by Germany, through the current regime's attempt at occupation on Ukraine, and the land that they have gained through violence in occupied territories, more genocidal events are going on. So actually, I can show that. So this is some bread of the type that is popularly made in Ukraine at the time, but this bread has special significance, and everyone got an individual wheat stalk as a reminder of that famine. We had some people from Indivisible join us, some leaders, and we really appreciate their presence. Oh, that didn't come out very well. There was a lovely young woman who sang a Ukrainian song about Holodomor. Uh, that picture got cut off a bit twice, and there's me. And then we ran a panel for Kherson Human Safari. Maybe this one has better pictures. Here we go. This one scrolls automatically. I need to learn how to do that. There she is. Can I stop it on that? Watch, watch the documentary Kherson Human Safari with Zarina. She doesn't like these pictures, so I will. There she is, young singer. She did a beautiful job. And then people watching the documentary. So this was a really wonderful event for everyone involved. I think it raised the level of awareness in the world that the human safari is going on. And if you don't know what human safari is, you're joining us for the first time. Russians along the front line, and these orders, can be traced all the way up to Putin, uh, where they part of their terror campaign, part of their scorched earth campaign that is typical of Russia during wartime. And unfortunately, throughout history, that hasn't changed. That's not an attack against a people in general, but Russian war tactics, Eastern war tactics, we can't always think about it in terms of what we would do as Westerners, or Westerners, or those with the ideology of freedom, with law of armed conflict, and something that we're debating. We're debating that in our society right now about certain actions in the law of armed conflict. In Russia, unfortunately, there isn't much debate about scorched earth tactics. It is just the way they do things, just like prisoner exchanges are just the way they do things. But when you get down to the nitty gritty, what's going on right now has never been done before. In that individual drones armed with grenades can hunt civilians. And then these videos are posted on Instagram. And so there's, blatant bragging about war crimes, hunting down little old ladies, herding goats, civilians in cars, anybody caught outside in the open. There's certain targets they would love to get. We talked about journalists last week that were killed in human safari. Oh man, did I not? All right. So I went through I'm going to do this whole part again. So if you're on a live audience, which it doesn't look like anybody is, I'm redoing this. Last weekend, we held an event. There's a young singer that came out. We held an event. At the Dallas Holocaust Museum, which Talk to the audience about Holodomor. Holodomor, if you're not familiar with, was a forcibly induced famine by Stalin in 1933-1934, a genocidal act meant to crush the will of the Ukrainian people, who he saw as potentially uprising against him. This event was really fast. And edited version, I'm going to zoom in on some of this. But Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, in partnership with that museum, put on a good presentation, and then we connected it all to current events with the human safari. I don't have to talk about the human safari again, but here is the grain that is symbolic. Around November 20th every year, Ukrainians kind of come together to memorialize this terrible time, because it is unfortunately, it's good we remember the Holocaust that Germany perpetrated, because the Ukrainians were also perhaps the largest number of victims of that. We had members of Indivisible join us. We thank them for being there. It's really important that other organizations fighting for democracy get involved in the cause for Ukraine and learn what they can. It's a pretty heavy subject. There was a young woman who sang beautifully a song about Holodomor, and here are members of the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce. Some of these pictures don't go very well on Instagram because I didn't edit them properly. There I am. But the Chamber of Commerce did edit them properly. So I'll play these again. We need to follow up this event. And we'll be following up this event with a rally next weekend, December 13th and 14th. It's a worldwide rally. I'm going to this website is humansafari.org. That's humansafari.org. Tells you about this worldwide rally, December 13th and 14th. In Dallas, we're going to aim for noon at the noon in Dallas at the Dallas City Hall Plaza. Please come out there and join us. We'll have signs for Stop Human Safari. Got to get those made this weekend. It's about terrorizing civilians in Kherson. It's not so much as a protest as to raise awareness that this is going on. Of course, we want it to stop. And we want our government to be aware that it needs to be stopped. So it is something that once people are aware of, I don't think there'll be any debate among Americans that needs to stop. The debates will continue about how much to help Ukraine. But at least if you're deciding whether or not Ukraine needs our help, the fact that these war crimes are going on should be in the information influencing your decision. Here are some of the places that the rally is already scheduled for. 13, 14 December. Look at all these cities. You got New York, We're trying to get Dallas on this list, but we can't do it without your help. Some places on 15th December, confirming the date, Seattle, Sydney. You can add Dallas to this list. We want to make recommendations to the UN Commission. If you haven't seen the documentary Human Safari, to see and feel what I'm talking about in this podcast, you really should. Please go watch that documentary. It's KhersonHumanSafari.com. You can watch it anytime you want. There are all kinds of resources. All right. So there's my important plug for that. We're trying to catch up with everyone else here in Dallas. Trying to work with Indivisible and other veterans organizations. We'll see what we can get. Even if it's just me and 3 or 4 people, we'll definitely do the Dallas one. We want to get one set up in Fort Worth as well. So stand by on my Substack, Facebook, and Instagram for information on that. Okay, so all right. Let me switch back to my Instagram real quick. All right. Speaking of Human Safari, our memorial this week is for a mother and son killed near Kherson just this last week, just a couple days ago. Russian drone killed a mom and 6-year-old Vladislav. So just driving along. I think this has like a picture of their car. Does it get to the... No, it just is... Right. Well, there's some places that their car is all blown up. They were driving in a car and it got blown up. You don't need to see that. We just want to remember these 2 humans have joined the thousands that are being targeted by individual drones. So they're driving along, probably trying to drive fast, maybe in an area without any net protection. And we don't know where they were trying to go. It doesn't matter. These are people just trying to live their lives. And they happen to be on a frontline city that isn't an occupied territory. If they were in occupied territory, they would be making this kid go to school and learn Russian songs. And then maybe even take him from his mom to recruit him to fight against Ukrainians at a later date. That's a whole different story. We talked about that last week. But people are being targeted in all kinds of different ways. So we haven't gotten to the hero of the week yet, but since we're talking about Human Safari, I want to talk about how you can help. One of the main organizations that I've found that has projects to help the people in Kherson and all along the front is Sunflower Seeds for Ukraine. If anyone has an affiliation with Sunflower Seeds for Ukraine, I'd love to talk to you. But these are the guys that are building the anti-drone safety nets. And if you haven't seen an anti-drone safety net, I'll show you a picture of those in a minute. Or if this is the recorded version, I'll throw one up in the edit. There's miles and miles of road in town that are starting to be covered in these nets, and they prevent the FPV drones from flying in. They can still blow them up and cause shrapnel, so they're not complete protection, but at least they can't fly down and directly impact a person or a car. It helps a lot. And they get torn down by artillery and larger drones and that kind of thing, and need to be put back up. So you can come to this website. I'm gonna they give to the frontline troops and things like that, but you can specifically say you want to donate for the protective measures, if that is what you'd like to do. I'm going to create a banner. Here's the website. Scroll across the bottom. I haven't tried that before. All right, so there it is. I got a little ticker going. You can go visit that website. You can give and you can help fight against the human safari. Something else they provide is drone detectors. Drone detectors are important because they can warn you that drones are in the area. If that family that we showed earlier had a drone detector, it's not complete protection, but they would have known at least that they're in danger. And kind of like a tornado, if you feel like your car is about to be targeted, and you can see the drone coming, the best thing to do is get out of your car and let the drone blow that up. We've seen a lot of people that would have otherwise been killed survive by that method. Jump out of the car or let the car keep going, because especially at a certain point, the drone operator is focused on destroying the car and has a hard time. So it's not complete defense, or you can speed up your car and outrun a drone if you're on a road. But if they were in a little residential area, you want to get out your car and seek shelter. But drone detectors can, I've seen it work. Zarina has several videos on her Instagram of the drone detectors that she has with the people that she runs around with in Kherson. And awareness is the first step to saving lives. So nets and drone detectors can help protect the civilian populace against this kind of attack. So sunflower seeds, real easy to remember, sunflowerseedsukraine.org. Sunflowers are Ukraine's national flower. If you remember the story of the old lady when the Russians originally invaded, there was one lady that went viral for giving Russian soldiers sunflower seeds and said, "Here, carry these with you, because when you die, at least you'll be returning something to the earth." That was hardcore. I like that lady. The little old ladies, man. They got the fight in it. They've seen it all, especially in this country, in that country. Okay. So that is sunflower seeds for Ukraine. Our hero of the week. We've had her on this show before. And there she is, Zarina. I'm not going to show her very long, but she is our hero of the week. If you go all the way back to the very first episode of this podcast, she helped inspire it. But her and any journalist, I wrote a Substack about journalists, so we'll change to that. Because even though Zarina picked that picture for her Instagram, she really kind of doesn't like public pictures. So let's change to my Substack. Every week when we do this podcast, I sort of talk about the companion article that I've written to go with it. Posts. And here it is. So really, here's some more human safari. I don't think I did talk about this last week. I just was thinking about writing the article. It's dangerous for journalists in Ukraine, and I think that first article is meant to drive that home. In that, here's to Elena and Yevin, her cameraman. They weren't in Kherson, but they were in a different frontline city. FPV drone came, I think they were 15 kilometers behind the front. So they should have been in a safer area. It wasn't safe. The Russians are sending these drones as far as they can be taken, and sometimes sneaking behind. What they do is they set up traps, kind of like in Afghanistan and Iraq. You used to have improvised explosive devices that were basically just big landmines, crude landmines that were set up alongside roads, and they would attack American troops. Well, now there are FPV drone ambush zones, and they will go after civilians. Any civilian who looks unwary, isn't going 300 miles an hour down the road, they will attack. And in November, we lost 2 Ukrainian journalists to that. We've lost French journalists. And we've got a journalist who's very aware of it for the Euromaidan Press and the Byerline Times. Zarina has been in Ukraine for 4 years, and for the last 2, she has been focused on stopping the human safari. She's raised awareness worldwide on this. She has a documentary out on it, but it hasn't been seen by enough people yet. So again, go watch it. She'll be speaking on Capitol Hill this next week. But she has spoken with and shown her documentary to several different NATO governments: France, Lithuania, Estonia. I don't remember them all right now, but the one in France went particularly well. the screenings of this. Um, so hopefully that's a picture that she likes because that one is public domain on the internet. So, oh no, I didn't switch over to, I'm on the wrong. All right. So, going through this again. I'm just going to edit what I already spoke over this picture for a minute. And then here. And there's Zarina. She doesn't like being called a hero, but no hero does. And she'll be the first to tell you that all these other folks that I've been talking about, the members of the 40th Tactical Air Aviation Brigade, and all the other aviation brigades that are doing their best to protect the skies of Ukraine. The soldiers on the ground, the soldiers um, like the Hungarian, who is largely responsible for Ukraine being on the cutting edge of drone attacks and all the attacks on Russian oil. Other heroes we've had on the podcast and featured on the podcast to include some of the soldiers that were in 2,000 meters to Adrivka, Andrivka, another documentary that you should watch that's out right now. So go to 2,000 meters to Andrivka.com. That follows the story in 2023 as part of the Kherson counteroffensive, what it took to retake one town. More than anything, you come away with the fighting spirit of Ukraine and how they are not going to bend to this terror. And they're certainly not going to let two other big boy countries negotiate away their land for them. So the fight continues. Zarina has been on the front lines of the fight for a long time, and I feel she deserves to be recognized. Next week, we will recognize two other journalists and her in the weekly column. So it is 8:07. That's pretty much the show for today. Remember that we are again having this Save Kherson rally next weekend around the world and here in Dallas. Stay tuned to my socials. You can also check the socials of the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce Test you. All right. Well, right at the we lost the internet here at Casa de Hightower right at the end of the stream. So I don't know quite what will be missing, but I I hope you got most. I hope we got most of the talk of Zarina as the hero of the week, and if she prefers, maybe brave journalist of the week. But I want to thank everyone for joining me in another podcast, even if it's pre-recorded. Remember, I do this at let's say 7:30 a.m. every Friday morning. Give myself a little more time to get woken up. 7:30 Friday mornings, live podcast, recorded versions on Saturday. Column comes out, weekly column comes out every Tuesday. Appreciate everyone who will subscribe. And glory to those who defend the Constitution of the United States. Looks like we got one person watching, maybe. Hello, one person. Oh, it's me. Watching on Facebook. Or is it me? I don't know if it's me. We're wrapping up the podcast. If you're watching, I do want to tell you about one more time about the Save Kherson rally, December 13th and 14th in Dallas. It's going on worldwide. We're going to try to get set up in Dallas, but it's in all these cities. Go to humansafari.org for more. We talked about that today. All right, that one person left. So, glory to those that support and defend the United States Constitution. Slava, Ukraini, and Heroyam, Slava.